The battles raging in Ukraine's east have laid waste to the city of Soledar. Ukraine's military said the city hasn't fallen to Russians, but said they've killed more than 100 Russian troops. But even after months of ferocious fighting, Ukraine's 800-mile-long front lines have been mostly frozen, literally and figuratively. This war is waiting for a game changer, and top Ukrainian officials are warning Russia is planning one, a new offensive that could be just weeks away. The current masters of Russia will throw everything they have left and everyone they can muster to try to turn the tide of the war. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky warned last week. Some officials even believe Russia could make another move on the capital, Kyiv, from neighboring Belarus. Over here, Russian and Belarusian troops were seen training just across Ukraine's northern border as recently as 2 weeks ago. Anton has been tracking Russian moves across the border for months. We see Russians regularly making fortifications, he told me, and in my opinion, they may be expecting an offensive from us. Russian President Vladimir Putin even visited Belarus 2 weeks ago, his only trip abroad since the start of the war, and glad-handed with Belarus's president, one of Putin's only remaining allies. On the first day of the war in February, Ukraine destroyed this bridge over the border, forcing Russian troops to take the long way to the capital. And since Russia's first failed attack on Kyiv, Ukraine has been preparing for a second. So this is in anticipation of another offensive. Russian forces were in this area of responsibility, he said, and now we're preparing for the potential scenarios that may come. So this trench is unused. It was built in April after the initial Russian invasion. And you can see it's all fresh timber, waiting for a fresh offensive. But the threat could come from anywhere. Back in Kyiv, one of Ukraine's top intelligence officials told me he expects a Russian offensive to target the eastern part of Ukraine. Where and when do you expect this new offensive? We're now focused on the reserves and groupings of troops that Russia is putting in the temporarily occupied territories, he told me. We're talking about the winter-spring period in the three main directions, Donbass, Kharkiv, and Zaporizhia. Whether Russia's new offensive succeeds or fails, Ukrainians believe Putin's other foot is about to drop. Matt Bradley, NBC News, Kyiv, Ukraine.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.